they're not predictable. Quality is bad. I means I know only one technique, one technology. I know only one domain. That's it. Because they don't even know what is Agile. In 2 to 3 PAs, we saw exponential results. Scaling without agility is a disaster. Hi, this is JP here from LeanWisdom. Welcome back to the Weekend Stories video series. This video is again a continuation of the last video. Right? Last video we spoke about how did we do effective PA planning. First time ever in my life, how did I do a PA planning completely online with 82 people, right? Now, I want to share another interesting story, right? We set certain goals and how did we achieve those, decided the goal, right? And how did we achieve the goal so that the art launch was successful and we got benefit, right? So if you remember, I was asking the leaders, hey, what was the business challenge that you had, right? So business leaders came and said, hey, these are all 5 or 6 challenges that we have, right? What are the challenges? We are not predictable. We are not, our quality is bad, right? Customers are throwing escalations left, right, center, right? Release time to market, very common problems, right? Release time to market is, we're not able to reduce it short, right? And the teams are not collaborating internally. They're not talking to each other, or there are challenges, and only some leaders, some heroes in the organization, the rest all are following, right? Even the teams, some experts in technology, right? And things like that. No automation, right? Everything was slowing. So we figured out a lot of gaps. Okay, now we need to fix it. So I brought a certain thinking in the leadership that, hey, where do you see yourself year from now? Right? Today you are making, once in 9 months release, right? Today you have almost close to 0% system automation. Your unit test automation is less than 10%. There is no static tools. There is no pipeline like CI or CD pipeline. Completely it is manual, right? And there are quite a few challenges in our testing. A lot of defects found at the latest in the cycle because it's more waterfall, right? Now, all these. One of the issues is also that the skill set was a problem, right? The team members, I know Java, you know JavaScript, somebody else knows automation, or somebody is more pure manual tester. This was a challenge, 82 member organization, right? So then I asked them, 1 year or 2 years from now, where do you see this organization? Then they were like, not sure, what are you asking? Then I brought this concept called, what is a cross-functional team mean? Remember, scaling without agility is a disaster, right? Scaling without agility is a disaster. What does it mean? First, you have to bring also Agile in the first PA itself, right? Or from the time you start thinking about art launch. So I brought, hey, your team itself is not cross-functional. As a team, somehow they are cross-functional. I have one Java developer, one JavaScript developer, one tester, one UI developer, whatever, right? One automation guy. If one guy is not around, the team will get stuck. If one person has a lot of work, other person will not be able to help. So I asked the leaders, 1 or 2 years from now, where do you see? Then I explained what is a concept of I skill to T skill to E skill, or a pi skill, or a comb skill, right? And I gave it multiple examples of how an organization is, benefits with the full stack development skills, or DevOps skills, and so on. When I started talking about this, the leaders got excited and said, yeah, I think this is the way we want to go. Then, trust me guys, 100% of the team with I skilled. What is I? I means I know only one technique, one technology. I know only one domain. That's it. I don't know anything else, right? 2, comb skill, where multiple skills. I know this and this and this and this and this. It's not easy. But we made a decision that in the next 1 or 2 years, we want to have at least 20% in a comb skill. First, great. We also made a decision as a leadership that maximum I-skilled people will be only 20%, and the rest will stay in the middle. That means what? My 100% of the team, only 20% will stay in with I-skilled in the next 1 or 2 years, right? 1 to 1.5 years, right? And minimum 20% will be a comb skill. Comb skill is I have an engineer who can work on multiple things, and the rest will be either a T skilled or a pi skilled or an E skilled, somewhere in the middle, right? And that was not easy. This is for technology, this is for domain, and all of this. So we made, okay, let us make a list of the current skills. Okay? If we need those so many, who can move from here to here? So we defined what is a beginner skills, what are intermediate, what is advanced, what is a proficient kind of skills. We defined and said if we need to move somebody from beginner to proficient, it's not going to happen in 1 year, right? So if we will need to probably move some advanced person to proficient, but a beginner to at least intermediate. Start moving from their skills and based on the skills that are required. Okay. Now, can we still get in 1 year 20%? It's not that easily possible, right? There are very few people who are good at two things, right? But we want comb. So we started hiring every new person in a comb skill. When I proposed this to the leaders were like, but it's huge budget, right? Hiring a comb skilled guy is much more expensive than hiring somebody only with Java skill. I said, okay, instead of hiring 10 people here, hire maybe 5 or 6 here. They are going to do much. They are going to change your organizational culture, because when they come with multiple skills, there are others who are going to look at them and start changing. And these guys are going to be very productive for you, right? Leaders agreed. We reduced the team size instead of growing. This organization was growing rapidly and we had to slow down. Instead of hiring so many people, let's hire a small set of people but with better skills, right? With the right attitude towards agility, right? So I and RTE sat for 1 or 2 full days just writing JDs, right? We wrote JDs and we went and we started hiring. It was not easy to hire people, but we got, right? We somehow managed to get, because this RTE was, he was very clear that without this skill I will not hire anybody. He understood the goal, right? We started doing it. So in less than a year, close to a year, we actually got 20% here. We got only 20% here and the rest were in the middle, right? This was a great thing, right? And also we did, the day we decided to launch an art, first thing we did was we did an agile training for everybody, because they don't even know what is agile. First, let us do 2 days of agile training. What is agile? 3 months from now is the PI planning, we know. But just before the PI planning, we'll talk about what is SAFe, how to do PI planning. But let them learn agile now. So we taught them agile and we put them in 2 weeks of sprint. We created a cross-functional teams. The teams were all siloed, UI team, backend team, testing team kind of teams. We brought agile teams, right? We made them work together. And when we brought all of these changes and we came up with the automation strategy, we came up with the, a goal for what percentage should be our goal by end of this year, right? We have 0% test automation, at least 40 to 50% system test should be automated. I have only less than 10% of unit test. Any new code written, like in a new class, right? It should have minimum 80% code coverage, right? How do we bring new static analysis tool? How do we build a CI? What is the right thing to do? So we started building a big backlog, which is not just a product backlog, which is also a kind of product health backlog, I would call it, right? What product health backlog means? What health of the product, like doing automation, removal of technical debts, static analysis, and so on, right? Setting up a CI pipeline. We built all of this, right? In 2 to 3 PAs, we saw exponential results. Trust me, guys. This is one of the cases where everything I want to try, I tried to an extent, and it worked. It started working. In the next 2-3 PAs, we started seeing every PA we started monitoring, right? How are we improving? The feeling, right? We did multiple measurements. I'll talk about another video about how did we measure, how did we improve holistically. But understand that scaling without Agile was a disaster, and so we had to focus on agility at the ground, because your product development happens at the ground. That has to be Agile. If Agile is not put in place right, even if you implement SAFe great, it's not going to be successful, right? And I hope this video was helpful and you got some learning out of this. Thank you for listening. See you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.